You know, you can actually change the direction of your life. You actually have a say-so in how your life goes. Life is not designed where you just wake up and see how it go and you react. You have a determining voice into where your life can go.
Your future is in your hands. You know what that means? You got to work on your mind. You got to upgrade, level up your skill set. You want to be in a community of collaborative, supportive relationships that's going in your direction. And anybody that don't have the mindset that you have, let them go. I was trying to help my twin brother lose weight. I gained 25 pounds. Because when you speak and talk to people, you dilute your energy. A person who's not willing to help themselves, you can help them.
You have no say-so in what happens to you, but you have a say-so in what you do about it.
It's not what happens. And the reason is because what happens to about everybody. And I found out that the same things can happen to two different people. One gets rich and one stays poor. It's because it's not what happens, but rather it's what you do. What people do, that's what's different. Hey, we could all tell stories all night long, right? Happenings. But it's not the happenings, it's what you do about it. Somebody says, yeah, but you don't understand the disappointments I've had. Come on. Disappointments are not special gifts reserved for the poor. Everybody has them. The difference is what you do about it.
See, life is 10% what happens to you. It's 90% what you do about it. You ain't got to be washed white as snow, because I didn't get that. I still got dirt on me. But show me something that has grown into something beautiful that didn't have no dirt on it. See, you get tripped out because you got dirt on you. But you need dirt on you to develop. You take a seed and throw it on the concrete. Don't put no dirt on it and watch what happens. Dirt is fertilizer. Dirt gives you the strength for your seed to push through. See, you got to have dirt on you to push through something. See, you get mad when haters come your way. You get mad because you get a setback. You get mad because you get a detour. That's just dirt. You get mad because they talking about you. That's dirt. You got to have dirt on you to grow into what God got for you. It was not my education. It wasn't no deal I struck. It was cause of prayer. When it looked like I wasn't going to be nothing, I kept praying. You said if I have not cause I ask not, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to just keep asking. When they told me you'll never be nothing, I didn't listen to them. I'm going to sit here until you get here. And guess what? He got here. You just got to get to asking. You have not cause you ask not.
You got some good stuff in you. You're supposed to evolve, not be the same way. We've been trained to be who we were not to be. And as a result, most of us are living a misplaced life. And many times in life, when the very foundation of our life has been shaken, we run to God only to discover that it's God that's doing the shaking. Reckoning taking on right now. See, there's disruptions, there are transformations, and there are decisions. And a lot of people have made the decision to give up. A lot of people have made the decision that I can't make it. A lot of people have thrown in the towel. We rather walk in dignity rather than ride in shame. It's a new day. And it's a new day, it's got to be a new you. Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. Sometimes you got to get an attitude about this thing. I've seen people get an attitude about stupid stuff. He looked at me, Rohn, sitting up in a jail cell, asking themselves, how did I get here? What I'm saying is common sense, but not common practice. What I'm saying is already in you. This is your moment. You've strayed off from this calling in your life. And sometimes you have to, as Edward Albee would say, you have to come back a long distance correctly. It's your time. Don't deny it. Don't ignore it. We've all had those moments where we say, boy, if I just listen to my first mind, listen if it's in the direction of where you know in your heart of hearts, you should be going. I live a life of no regrets. I'm encouraging you to do that. If you can hear me in your heart, you have no idea of what you can do, of what you can accomplish. You have no idea. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you. It's a process to achieve mastery, and quitting does not make it any faster. You got to be willing to go all in for you, for freedom. I just got tired of somebody telling me what time to be there, how much I'm worth. And I remember one time I did all the right things and asked in advance for vacation, and then he said no. And I remember going back to my desk, I'm getting up and out of here. Nobody's going to treat me like I'm a child, like I'm nothing. Time magazine said the computer was the person of the year. Why? Because you can create a global business with your phone or your computer. And now the majority of money that's being generated in the economy is done at a computer. Going from brick and mortar to click and order. And this day where we are right now, the people that are evil, the people that going all out to stop us, to hold us down, we got to be more determined and be willing to do whatever it takes to live our dreams. You got to be stronger than the forces working against you. People need to be encouraged. There's pain out here. There are people that are disillusioned out here. People are feeling weak and powerless out here and don't know that this is the best time of our lives. We got all the tools we need to do whatever we want to do. Don't focus on the problems, focus on the solution. You get up in the morning like that. You get up in the morning and say all things work together for good, for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. Lord, whatever I face today, together you and I can handle it. And just say to yourself, this is going to be the best day of my life.
Don't forget to pray. Don't be ashamed to pray. Because prayer changes things. I don't care how dark it looks for you. I don't care what the verdict is. I don't care what the haters say. Prayer changed things. I grew up on a block, man, that it didn't breed success. You had to be something else you come up out of there. Prayer changes things. I was told I would never be nothing. I flunked out of school. Prayer changes things. It's the one thing that's available to everybody at any given time. He ain't ever too busy for you. Do you know that God actually created you to converse with him? Do you know that God would actually love to hear from you? You're not going to make it without God. If you've tried it so far, tell me how that's working out for you. You need God. I've needed him every step of the way. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't even be standing here today. You need God. You need to tell him that you need him. Tell him that you're just tired of trying to figure it out for yourself. He already know you got problems. God take anybody that want to be saved, and he saved. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody that can save anybody.
There will never be a point in your time in your life where it's the right time to do a great thing. If you're waiting for that perfect moment, that perfect timing, it's not going to happen. You know what you have to do? You have to create the perfect time and the perfect opportunity and the perfect situation.
is that a lot of people become comfortable. They stop growing. They stop wanting anything. They become satisfied. People getting ready to go to jobs that they don't like. Jobs that are making them sick. You see, when you're not pursuing your goal, you are literally committing spiritual suicide. When you have some goal out here that you're stretching for and reaching for that takes you out of your comfort zone, you'll find out some talents and abilities you have that you didn't know you have. When the messenger of misery visits you, what are you going to do? What will keep you in the game?
There are things that you think you'll never need to know, that you may only need to know one time in your life, but that could save your life because you had that knowledge.
Unless you attempt to do something beyond that which you've already mastered, you will never grow. What is it that you looked at some point in time and you decided that you couldn't do it, that you talked yourself out of it?
You're waiting on your next door neighbor to make it happen for you. It may not happen. If you're waiting on your mother or your father, they may be so ancient in their thinking that they don't understand this opportunity that you have. And if you're waiting on them, it may never get done. You don't beg average people to be phenomenal. You don't beg good people to be phenomenal. You just are phenomenal, and you will attract phenomenal.
What reason can you remember that you can call on, that you can reach on, that can make you get back up? Find that reason.
If you're not where you are, if you're not where you want to be, if you don't have what you want to have, if you're not where you think you should be at this particular place, it has nothing to do with the system, but it has everything to do with the fact that you're not making the sacrifice. I want you to make that dream become a reality, because if you don't, you will be working for somebody else to make their dreams become a reality.
Everybody is against you or don't believe in you no more. And let me tell you something, that's a lonely feeling. It's a lonely feeling, particularly people that you're doing it for. Most people take their greatness, take their ideas to the graveyard with them.
Listen to me. If it was easy, everybody would do it. There are people right now who are working who don't want to work. There are people who hate their jobs, but they keep getting up to do it.
The wealthiest place on the planet is the graveyard. Because in the graveyard, we will find inventions that we never, ever were exposed to. Ideas, dreams that never became reality. Hopes and aspirations that were never acted upon.
Question is, what are you going to do with your time? What drives you? And greatness is a lot of small things done well. Day after day, workout after workout, obedience after obedience, day after day.
When things don't work out for you, when things happen that you could not anticipate, what are the reasons that you can think of that can keep you strong?
You will never, ever be successful until you turn your pain into greatness, until you allow your pain to push you from where you are to push you to where you need to be. Stop running from your pain and embrace your pain. Your pain is going to be a part of your prize, a part of your product. I challenge you to push yourself.
See, it's easy to be on the bottom. It doesn't take any effort to be a loser. It doesn't take any motivation, any drive in order to stay down there on a low level. But it calls on everything in you. You have to harness your will to say, I'm going to challenge myself.
I mean that what you did last week don't count. Today is the only important day. There are 86,400 seconds in a day, and how you use those are critical. You got 86,400 today, and what you do today is going to cement who you are. Nobody's going to talk about what you did last week.
That the biggest enemy you have to deal with is yourself. There's an old African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm.
You have this opportunity of a lifetime. It means absolutely nothing if you don't take advantage of it in the lifetime of this opportunity.
I got a saying that when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it. See, it's time now. If you want to make this your decade, you've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential, as opposed to saying no.
When you die on E. Leave no dream left behind, guys. Leave no opportunity left behind. When you leave this earth, accomplish every single thing you can accomplish.
Listen to me. You're going to be here one day, but you'll never get here if you give up, if you give in, if you quit. And finally, guys, you got to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe.
Actions allow me to do things that I couldn't do the moment before. Then it's like that moment in The Matrix where Neo realizes he knows Kung Fu.
In my life, that has been 100% constant. I am a very happy person, and I have never had a moment where I'm not doing difficult shit.
You have seen things that others do not understand. You have been through things that others will never be able to go through on their own. This is what makes you unique on and fight with everything you and you have let everything around you destroy you, and you haven't even given yourself a chance. Just because you failed, you want to quit. Just because you didn't make the cut, you want to quit. Just because somebody didn't like you today and he didn't love you tomorrow, you want to quit. You want to give up on your life, and your life is yours and it doesn't belong to anyone else but you. Enough is enough. Make the reality a reality without you. Make it work for you. Believe in it, work on it, stand on it, fight for it, and get it done. We all have battles, and some of these battles are difficult. Some of these battles we can't recover from, and some of these battles may take a lot longer, and some we may not win at all. But while you're living, while you're breathing, the battle continues.
And that's like, as funny as that is, that's how I think about life. To me, the very fundamental purpose of life is to find out how many skills I can acquire that have utility, and then put that utility to the test in service of something greater than myself. How many skills can I acquire that have utility, put that utility to the test in service of something greater than myself? That is for me the purpose of life. Now, I don't actually want to know Kung Fu. That is not the mission that I'm here to live. But I knew that I had to identify my mission. So what was going to be my mission? Mother Teresa has an amazing quote. Nobody will act for the many, but people will act for the one.
Anytime you do something hard, that's a sign that something big is in your future. The widow went from getting by each day, having just enough to survive, to having abundance, provision that never ran out. My father went from believing for one sanctuary, hoping to have the funds to pay for that 1,000-seat auditorium, to having the funds over the years to build multiple auditoriums, much bigger than he ever imagined. Don't put off the hard thing if he didn't have something much better in your future. But sometimes we let fear hold us back. What if I do it, Joel, and it doesn't work out? What if I make the prophet the meal and I starve? What if I give these funds and I can't build my sanctuary? David said, I was young and now I'm old, and I've never once seen the righteous forsaken.
Remember the time when you wanted more. Remember the time when there were people in your life that did not believe you. Remember the time when you honestly gave up on the possibilities of the uniqueness that you had inside. Remember there was a time that you complained so much that did so little. There comes to a point in your life that you must recognize that there is a little bit more that has to be done than just complaining about it.
And that really struck me, because I realized they were right. I was looking at this global pandemic of ill health, and I wasn't moving into action. But thinking about my mom and my sister, or the uncle I had who ate himself to death when I was 12 years old, that made me want to act.
Connecting increases your influence in every situation. For the foundation of the teaching today, I want to make sure that we really have a grasp of why connecting with people is so vital. So if you'll go to the very first sentence in your note, the number one criteria for advancement and promotion for professionals is an ability to communicate effectively. That I do believe. I think the ability to connect and communicate is the number one criteria for success with your family, with your marriage, with your children, with your friends, in the workplace, the marketplace, in the community.
Don't let fear and doubt keep you from seeing the greatness of our God. He's going to ask you to do things that don't make sense. It's because faith has to do with your heart, not necessarily your mind. That's why the scripture says, lean not to your own understanding. If you can figure it out, make it work on paper, you've got it calculated how it can happen, then you don't need faith. But when you're like this widow, you calculate, I have enough flour for one meal, I've made bread my whole life. I'm concluded. We're limited. That's when faith has to kick in.
You have built-in greatness. You have built-in power, authority, and dominion to handle whatever life throws at you. And life is going to be throwing a lot of stuff. Nobody's going to be spared. That's why Viktor Frankl called it unavoidable suffering. But suffering is a choice. You have a choice because you can suffer or you can choose to do whatever you need to do to liberate yourself, to overcome whatever you are stuck in right now.
On the outside, people don't look broken. You don't see bruises and you don't see scratches and you don't see scrapes and people don't walk around in a big cast, and so you can't tell with the naked eye. The problem is that there's a malfunction on the inside. So many times, depression, what it feels like is this, that I'm so afraid to share what's going on the inside because I'm afraid it might destroy you. So what I do is I bury it on the inside of myself only to destroy myself.
Put your Gundam head down and take charge of your life. And this is going to mess with your head, but sometimes this means you need to let go of the people that you think of your closest friends. This means you might have to let go of the people that are the closest family members to you. You might have to let go of your mom or your dad or your brothers or your sisters or the best friend you've had since first grade. They might not be bad people.
We are busier than a one-arm wallpaper hanger. We are just as busy as we can be, and we think because we're busy, we're effective. But I want you to challenge your schedule for a minute and ask yourself, are you really being effective, or is your life cluttered with all kinds of stuff that demands you and drains you and taxes you and stops you from being your highest and best self? And are you substituting busyness and all the chaos that goes along with busyness from being effective? Let me tell you, a bunch of scientists got together and they began to do some research, and they begin to determine that 80% of the things we do are busy things that we do in an area that is not effective, that the average person only spends 20% of their time doing the thing that they are really gifted at, created at, passionate about.
No matter what comes against us, we will make it through. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. That doesn't mean there's going to be no pain involved. But truly, we can do all things. Yes, you can make it through whatever you're going through right now. You can get so strong in spirit that you can be going through really, really difficult things, and while you are, you're still reaching out and helping other people, and they don't even know what you're going through.
I'm not in this by myself. I'm not in this thing by myself. You are not alone in the battle. You're not alone in the struggle. And when it's all over, you're going to see that even though you couldn't see him, he was there all the time.
Extreme environments will turn you into a different creature.
Excited to do, and the rest of it is all the dismal, dumb stuff that we all have to do in order to survive. Just crazy stuff that we're doing. Wonder what would happen if we would go from doing 80% of things that are busy but not effective, and 20% of the things that are really effective, if we would switch those numbers around and only give 20% of our time to the things that we have to do and 80% of our time to the thing that we were created to do. You could take my car, I could get another one. You could take my house, I could get another house. But when you take my time, you have taken something from me that is totally irreplaceable. We take all kind of classes for money management. We know how to manage our money. We know how to repair our houses. We're working on our hair and our bodies and all of this kind of stuff. We do everything except the most important thing is to value our time. It takes time to be creative.
I stand out here in this desert, and let me tell you, this time of the year is very hot. And to reach out to so many of you to give you the message that you may need to hear, but yet I am doing what is necessary. I'm tired, but I'm not defeated, because I know I got a job to do so wherever you may be, and you're in a situation where things need to be done.
My first shows, I was playing for 5 people, but I pretended like it was like a big deal. When I started DJing, I was playing, I remember when 5 people would be like, yeah, and there was everyone else just doesn't give a shit. I'm like, those are my 5 people. I focus on them. And after I talked to them, hang out with them. I used to do that at every show when I was in a band. We would tour across the United States, and we would drive like 10 hours, and we show up, I remember in like Albuquerque or something, and there was 12 people that showed up. And after the show, I like hung out with all of them, and one of the guys let us stay in their house, because we were sleeping in our van the whole time. Man, I was excited after the whole tour. I was like, when are we gonna go back again? And it's like, you know, you have to start in that mindset. It's like you can't, that's the problem with social media right now, is that you're comparing yourself to people that have like this large success, and you're like, I wanna play there.
Have you ever stopped to consider the reason why you're never able to finish anything you start is not because you're not gifted. It's not because you're not talented. The reason why you can't finish it is because you lack character. Because every time you step out, you don't have the stuff it takes to finish. Yet the only way you're going to get rid of bad character is you're going to have to actually go ahead and get rid of bad company. The moment you remove bad company, you're going to start getting some good character. Somebody say, check your circle. Sometimes there's something inside of you telling you that you are not enough. And since you feel like you're not enough, you start trying to do all this stuff to prove that you are enough. The problem is, the people that you're trying to prove it to aren't even paying attention, because they're so busy trying to prove to somebody else who isn't paying attention, to the other person. And now we're all posting and proving, but inside we're dying. And you've got to know the places that you cannot go, whether it's on your phone, whether it's in your mind.
But you first have to go with what you have in front of you and make that meaningful.
You can't forget that life is an art. This is why Oprah and I connected immediately, because, you know, we did a whole episode one time on enlightening people that didn't have money on how they can live art. I said, very easy. I said, can the average fellow go to Walmart and afford a sacred tray? Yes, it might be $3. Can you afford a cup instead of a paper cup? Might be $1. It's fine. Now, can you put your favorite coffee in that cup? Can you go to a market or something and get a nice blueberry muffin? Can you make that look pretty, put a flower on that tray? Now can you go give it to your husband or your wife? They'll think they're at the Four Seasons and you have minimal money. It's how you approach shit. You know, it's the art of life.
Because there are some places that you need to stay away from on purpose. Because if you go, it's going to kill your joy. It's going to kill your contentment. It's going to kill your sanity. It's going to kill your peace.
You've got to upgrade your friends. It ain't nothing bad. You just got to upgrade people in your life. But if you're the smartest person in your group, you need a new group. You cannot be the go-to person in the group. Don't worry about it. You have a gift. You solve problems all the time. You can earn a lot of money doing that. You know, people pay for in this country, they pay for expertise in this country. The moment you're an expert at something in America, you can make $1 million. All you gotta do is be an expert at one thing.
I don't know how many different ways I can say this. So many of us have to learn this the hard way. They act like they got love for you. Have your friends, have your family, have your relationships. But make sure you pay close attention to the circle, to your company that you keep.
One of the problems is you feel like this is your future. You feel like and you can't get out of that. There's no hope. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no rainbow. And if you feel like that, that alone can be incredibly defining and limiting. But if you can look at yourself objectively and say, okay, I'm in credit card debt, I'm working in a shitty job, I don't like what I'm doing, but I have some ideas. I need to feed those fucking ideas. I need to feed them and water them, and I need to set aside a certain amount of time every day to just try to make those things happen. You can do that. Everyone has a different personality. They have different interests, different things that they would be really satisfied pursuing. That's not encouraged. What's encouraged is go find a job. What's encouraged is go find some place that you can shove yourself into. Go find a square hole that you can stick your round peg and just jam it in there and shave down the top and the bottom.
Someone wants wealth or they want fame. It's harder for that to happen because it's not based on anything that has a bean exchange to it. You know, I always say, if you want to be wealthy on just money, get into the money business, investments, banking, you know. But if you're in the arts, I would do it for art's sake first, and then hopefully others will follow, but not make it a prerequisite, but just keep doing the right thing and the good thing, it'll happen.
One of my friends says, well, hey, things don't just happen. Things happen just. Another good note for your note. Things don't just happen. Things happen just. And maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm an amateur on life, I guess like most of us are, trying to figure it out, how to make it valuable. But I was ready. And my good fortune was, at age 25, I met a very wealthy man. His name was Mr. Schoaf, Mr. Earl Schoaf. A friend of mine had gone to work for him, and he started telling me about this man. He said, you got to meet this man I've gone to work for. He's wealthy, but he's easy to talk to. And he's got a unique philosophy of life. And the more he kept talking about this man, I thought, well, I've got to meet this man. So sure enough, shortly after that, I had a chance to meet this remarkable wealthy man, and I was impressed. He was wealthy. Sure enough, he was easy to talk to. I was so intrigued, within a few minutes, I said to myself, if I could be like him, farm boy from Idaho, if I could be like him, I'd give anything. And then I thought, if I could just get around somebody like him, and if he would teach me what to do, I would be willing to learn. I'm coachable. And that was my good fortune. A few months later, this wealthy man that I met, Mr. Schoaf, took a liking to me, hired me, gave me a job. I went to work for him. And I spent the next 5 years in his employ. And then, unfortunately, he died at the end of that period at age 49. His last 5 years, but the first 5 years of my new life, I got to spend with this remarkable man. And my dream came true. He coached me, he taught me the books to read. He taught me the discipline. He taught me the changes to make in my language, personality. And the things he shared with me during that 5 years literally changed my life, turned my life around, changed my income, changed my bank account, changed my future, changed everything. I've never been the same since that unique experience. And I wish he was still alive today, Mr. Schoaf. I'm sure if he was alive today, especially after this seminar, Idaho Farm Boy makes it to Dallas-Fort Worth, full house, standing room only. Pretty awesome. I'm sure if he was alive, I'd be calling him today saying, you won't believe what's happening to me. I've had a chance now to share with other people what's shared with me. But anyway, how I got here. 30 plus years ago, I was living in Beverly Hills, California. And one day a friend of mine, businessman friend, said, Jim, I'd like to have you come and share your story with my service club that I belong to, the Rotary Club. He said, I know your story, Idaho Farm Boy makes it to Beverly Hills. But he said, I think my club members would love to hear your story. He said, if I arranged one of our breakfast meetings, would you come tell your story? Just share a few thoughts. I said, okay. So I agreed to go give this breakfast talk. And guess what? They liked it. And my telephone rang. I got another call saying, we heard you've given your story and shared some ideas. Would you come talk to our club? First thing I know, I'm starting to devote a piece of my business time to giving these talks. And then one day, a businessman who had heard my talk, I think 2 or 3 times, approached me and said, would you come and share that story and some thoughts with my management and salespeople? So I got this little company going. And he said, if you'd come tell your story to my organization, he said, I'd be happy to pay you. And I thought, wow, wouldn't that be something? So I agreed to go do it, and I got paid. Little did I know, another fortune was waiting for me to translate my ideas in talks, speeches, seminars. Now I've written some books. It's on cassette tape. Now I get to travel around the world. Last year I was in Japan, Israel, Spain, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, France, Germany, Canada, and now Dallas-Fort Worth. Idaho Farm Boy gets to travel around the world and share his story, and here I am today.
And I used to say, looking at the beautiful mansions that she used to clean, I would say, Mama! She said, what is it, boy? When I become a man, I'm going to buy something like this for you. I'm going to buy you a home one day. She said, oh, Leslie, you don't have to do that. I said, I know, Mama, but I want to. I'm going to one day. And she didn't know, and she was curious, where was I getting those thoughts from? I used to work and take care of Mr. Sidursky. He was a very demanding man, very meticulous guy. He would say, Leslie, I said, yes, sir, come here. Yes, sir, you did not clean this ashtray. I'm sorry, sir, I do apologize. And I'd clean the ashtray. Look at this dust here. Look at this dust. I'm sorry, sir. Now, what Mr. Sidursky did not know was that I deliberately didn't clean certain things because I wanted him to call me into his office. Because when he was in his office, he would listen to motivational messages by a guy by the name of Earl Nightingale. It's a series called The Strangest Secret in the World. We become what we think about. All of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. And as I heard those words, they began to program my mind and began to affect my thinking, and it changed how I saw myself. And my vision of myself began to expand. Listening to Bob Proctor talking earlier about awareness and how important it is. He most certainly is right, because I had the awareness at that point in time as a result of being exposed to those messages that I could do more than I was now experiencing. Even since I've been associated with working with Peak Potential, my level of awareness has expanded. Robert Riopel and Roxanne and Gail Kingsley, it began to expand all of the people that I've interacted with. Life is about expansion. Robert Schuller said success is never ending. And I want you to think about some goal that will give your life a sense of meaning and value. And whatever it is, I don't want you to limit it. I want you to expand it. I've found that most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. No, most people have been like me. Most people aim in life too low, and they aim too low and hit. I did that for many years, and many don't aim at all. So I want you to think about goals in 3 areas. Some personal goal that you'd like to achieve, something that gives your life meaning right now, and some career goal, some financial goal that you'd like to achieve, and your social contribution. Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. My mother was a 22-year breast cancer conqueror. So before I leave the planet, my goal is to reduce the number of women who die from breast cancer in honor of my mother. How many men are over 40? Raise your hands, please. As a 10-year prostate cancer conqueror, my goal is to decrease the number of men who die from prostate cancer, encouraging you to get your PSA test if you haven't done so, or your digital rectal examination. And I'll be glad when they can check our prostate by looking in our ears. It's got to be a better way. I'm turning red as I talk about it, but you can't see it.
They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. And then he says, he that goeth forth and weepeth, bearing precious seed, shall doubtless, that's the word, doubtless. He didn't say you might come forth with rejoicing. He said you will doubtless come again with rejoicing. Look at this. You left bleeding, you left weeping, you left suffering. He said, but when you come back, you're going to be bringing your sheaves with you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. They came back better than they left. And I want to share with you when God says when. There is a place that God just speaks a word and he just turns it all around. I don't know whether it's going to be Thursday or Wednesday. I don't know whether it's going to be Friday or next Monday. I don't know whether it's going to be March or July. God knows when. All I know is I'm waiting on my win. I'm waiting on my win. And when the Lord turns again my captivity, I am not going to sit there like some of you high-minded, fanciful, sedity, self-righteous people and act like I have not been waiting on this. I am going to praise him like an imbecile. I am going to praise him like an idiot. I am going to dance like I lost my mind. I am going to take my glasses off and shake my head like I'm in a rock band. I'm going to walk the floor and dance and praise the Lord. I am going to be a fool for the Lord, because anybody who's been through what I've been through, I earned the right to make some noise. I am going to get on your nerves. I am going to shout the shout of victory. I am going to lift my voice like a trumpet. I am going to shout unto God. I earn the right to praise him. I earn the right to laugh all you want to. But until you've cried like me, you can't shout like me. Until you suffered like me, you can't rejoice like me. Until you've grown like me, you can't dance a victory like me. Type it right now. I earn this praise. I earn this praise. You can roll your eyes all you want to. You can talk about me if you will. You can send a text out. You can write a blog. But I earn this praise. I earn this blessing. I earn this car. I earn this house. I earn this smile. I earn this life. I earned it. I earned earned it. I earned it because I was faithful when I was hurting and because I held on when I was bleeding. I ain't gonna let nobody talk me out of my praise. No! No, 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 hell no. When God says win, and now I'm not gonna rejoice because I'm afraid of getting on your nerves. I wanna get on your nerves. I fully plan to get on your nerves. God has win. He has a win. He has a win that's got my name on it. He has a win that's already established. And I want every devil to know you can't keep me